Are you still watching? Because Justin's interviewing
challenges
now.
or
Bye.
hurdles that you experience on a daily basis in that kind of environment? And let's go with that for now.
Well, the idea is to create something that is as fast as thought. You want to be able to give an actual object to an abstract idea.
Right.
So that's the constant. That's always the hurdle. Where having it drawn or concepting it in the sculpt both serves that purpose. But either way, the vehicle is Zbrush, or you know, delivering something that really sells the idea to the client.
Okay, bye.
And I think in general, whether it be commercials or movies or games, and I say Zbrush is given the opportunity to work in all of those, it all has that constant where you have to just sell the idea. And I think clients in general have higher expectations. They're not looking for illustrations, they're looking for models.
Right, I think that's something that's happening as well. They were mentioning that earlier today a couple of times. Do you feel that the time and space given to work on, let's say, commercial advertising, because it has such a very short lifespan, it exists in a place where it needs to happen rapidly?
Yesterday.
Yeah, we need this yesterday. Like that advertisement needs to happen yesterday.
I think that...
What effect does that have on you as an artist?
So Zbrush has allowed me to work so quickly that commercials I'm able to keep up, but I still think that they are probably the fastest paced turnaround and one of the hardest things to do.
Probably very demanding.
Being in previs, like on Guardian of the Galaxy, I was creating a character a day, and they didn't have a concept a lot of times, so I was able to look at the Marvel comics and just make the characters. So that delivered them the ideas that they went and filled in as it was moving across the screen, and then the concept artist then developed the actual costumes. So, I mean, that was a really fast turnaround project. I would say in general, games actually gives me a little more time. So I like working fast, and with that extra time, it allows me to do polish, because I can get through that concept stage and sell the idea faster.
Cool. Okay. Sweet deal. I'm going to go... I haven't really focused on your personal stuff, so maybe take the mic back for a brief moment. They're not out of the hot seat yet.
All right.
Out of the gate, I was talking to you earlier about your tune, Zombie. I really like it. You're a long way from Cedar Rapids, it says, Iowa. That's where you're originally from.
Yes.
Why did you decide to shift gears away from what was the origin of traditional art? You were working traditional art, sculpture, and painting, I believe. Is that correct?
I didn't have a lot of exposure in Iowa to media. They were very centric on crafts and stuff like that. So my first trip was to, I think, Arizona. That's where I went to school, and I was working my way to LA. I just needed to get around the people that would inspire me, the people that thought like I did, and that's what I found when I got to California pretty fast. That the people with the same goals, they were all working together to get there.
Right. That calls to mind something someone said to me one time. They said that you should, if you wanted to do something, you should go where the people were doing it and surround yourself with those types of people, and you would arrive at a conclusion that was, you know, by proxy or by association, you would be guilty of greatness with them. So it's this idea of like, yeah, right, we're hanging out, and sort of riffing on a theme that was distributed to me a long time ago by someone who was a very experienced academic, and he said, you know, greatness begets greatness. So I think that you saying that is actually an affirmation, and it continues to be that. I think that we can all agree, and Cecil is smiling off camera as well. You know, if you want to get your black belt, you go and hang out with the black belt all day.
That's right, he's my sensei.
Yeah, right. So you also worked on A Nightmare on Elm Street as a Zbrush artist. You still sleep with the lights on?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was interesting. They definitely had a very grim thoughts that I had to fill in the details on, but I was thrilled to do it, and I was able to use like tools like layers to do makeup, like the cuts of the forced claws through her head. I was able to show the VFX supervisor, this is what it's going to look like, you know, really, really quick and in motion. So it was exciting.
So that was a twofold type project where you were attacking a character that is extremely well established, we could say that.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger, I mean, we're going all the way back to the early part of the 80s with that one. And you'll say, like, is there, in some way, shape, or form, how do you overcome maybe any nervous feeling tackling that kind of character where you say, hey, I already know that the world realizes what this looks like, and now this is my sort of opportunity to capture it, and am I just strictly sticking with it, or is there any part of you that is in there beyond the base character?
I wasn't the designer of that character, so really I wanted to give them something they could set on fire.
Okay. So it's more of a practical application.
It was a practical application.
Of course,
it was a great opportunity because I had just come from working in a long stint in games, and they picked me up almost right away. So I was quickly learning about the movie industry, and they were learning about really Zbrush, because I was able to do what they asked me for in like a day or two.
Right.
And they had scheduled out 2 weeks. Okay. So I was able to go on and do a whole bunch of other things while I was there. They didn't bring me on to do the Freddy face. They brought me on to do the Gwen makeup.
Right. So you were brought on actually in that particular case as a digital artist with an ability to produce something that was in a practical realm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And so do you feel like, you can all answer this, I mean, is that an ongoing trend for you right now, for those that are coming into this and saying, well, I like games and film, but what other applications can I, or what other ways can I put this to good use? And is that something that you're thinking about? Or?
The costume design aspect's amazing, but because ZBrush is starting to grow so wide in its application, it's hard to be a master of it all. And really what I care most about being the best at is, well, sculpting. And that's what it gives me the opportunity to do.
Right. Get into the base root of what.
There's even, there's lots of medical applications too, from what I've read.
Yeah.